We are live on YouTube. There we go.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Episode 89?
90.
90? Ben, Ryan,
Oh,
Chase back at after further review to hang out with y'all on Instagram and YouTube on this Tuesday. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts later in the week if you miss our show. But yeah, we got not a ton of sports, but a lot to go over today. So I mean, what's on tap, Ben? What we got?
Yeah, we're gonna talk some baseball, free agency. A lot of things been happening in the baseball world over the past few days. Gonna get into college football rankings. Playoffs came out. Gonna kind of take a look at that bracket. And maybe I guess we'll have to fill one out here in the next few days. Not on the show, but kind of fill one of those out. And then just round out with some basketball, kind of check in on our team, see how they're doing.
Yeah.
So, well, let's get into the biggest probably news of the day, free agency. Did you guys hear? I guess everyone heard Juan Soto to the Mets. So I have a couple things, and I don't have it all in front of me. Salty about it, but it's crazy. First of all, it's crazy. First, in the fact that the Mets beat out the Yankees in a free agent signing.
Crazy.
That's never really happened in general.
Insane.
The Mets getting a free agent of this caliber has never happened before. Lindor was a trade. They haven't done that to have a player want to come to the Mets. And I get all the anger regarding the money and it's crazy and he's going to be a DH, all that stuff. But I have a few things. One, not my money, so I don't care. Two, with this deal, the Mets are at about $240 million in their cap. They were at $314 last year. To even get to where they were last year with Soto, they can sign Alonso, Burns, and more, and not even be where they were last year with having Verlander and Scherzer still on the books. So they are not done as far as their spending because this deal does not, affect that at all. Soto legitimately, he legitimately has a chance to become, and this is coming from one of the biggest Mike Piazza fans,
the biggest
that there is, potentially he has a chance to become one of the best, if not the best Mets hitter ever in the history of the Mets, because you have a guy who's 26. He might not have had his best season or be at his prime yet. We don't know. Sometimes at 26, you're just getting into your prime. So Soto's best season may be in front of him still. The Mets have never had a hitter win MVP. Soto could be the first one to do that. Lindor was obviously second, but it really wasn't close with him and Ohtani. We all know Ohtani was going to win. But this is not going to just help Soto and the Mets. It's going to help a guy like Lindor. We saw what Judge did with Lindor, but with Soto behind him, it's going to be similar. Lindor's probably going to bat first. Soto's probably going to bat second, or maybe Lindor second and Soto third. But it's going to help Lindor see pitches in the zone, and it's just going to help the team in general have a guy like that. So I'm excited. He definitely wasn't my first choice. I know if you go back to a couple of podcasts, I probably said that I wouldn't be upset if we signed him, but I also didn't necessarily think the money was the best investment, because the reality is he's going to be a DH probably by the time he's 32, 33. But that's okay. I mean, if he's putting up those numbers, there's no reason he can't be a DH. If he's gonna hit 300 with 30-something home runs, now Citi Field's a bigger stadium than Yankee Stadium, so I expect the home run total to maybe go down a little bit. But it was pretty exciting. I was pretty pumped to see that, to see the Mets kind of doing that, to have a guy of his caliber coming to the team, and it's going to be huge. They're going to probably try to sign Pete Alonso again, and then that lineup is going to, get scarier. So yeah, there's a lot of things that go with it. I mean, the Yankees made a 16-year, $760 billion offer, and $760 million. Sorry, not billion. And then the Red Sox, Red Sox made the 15-year, $700 million too. So there was a lot of guys, a lot of teams going after him and going after him hard, and so at least 3 offers over $700 million for Soto, which is insane. And you look at the Yankees, all these other teams. They tried. You can't fault them, but I'm happy. I'm excited to be a Mets fan and see where this goes. This isn't your dad's Mets, that's for sure.
Dang, that's crazy. And honestly, I feel like as a Phillies fan, listening to that, it's making me a little bit nervous considering the way that the Mets ended last year. And now you're adding such a premier bat to that lineup. But I know you guys always have Bobby Bonilla Day, but you might have to switch it around and might have to create Juan Soto Day just for changing the fortune of the Mets. I mean, I know you've talked about the fortunes of the Mets and how it always feels like they're snake bitten in some way, in shape or form, but just the way that Steve Cohen's come in, been willing to open up his pocket. Like you said, you still have more money that you could spend. I thought it was it. I thought this was it for the Mets for the offseason. But if there's still room for them to add, that's a little terrifying, I'm not going to lie. And I hope the Phillies have some sort of plan in order to combat this, because you have a superpower in Atlanta, and now you have the Mets to compete with. And the Nationals aren't going to be great, but they're a scrappy young team. They're going to learn how to win. So the Phillies are in a really hard spot.
Yeah, and they could stop by the next threshold if they want to get under the highest tax luxury, which I think is 282 million or 281. But that still gives them about 40-ish million this year for this next year to play with. So they're most certainly are going to go after. I think the plan, from what I saw, the plan for them is to go after Alonso. If for some reason they can't get Alonso, they're going to try to get Bregman and then move Vientos to first. Is apparently their plan.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know how I feel about that because Bregman's older, but they're also in the mix for definitely another starting pitcher because they had Clay Holmes. They made that move. They got Frankie Montas. Those guys you can't rely on as full year starters. You can hopefully they'll have some good starts, but you don't know what you're going to get with those guys. And Clay Holmes, you might just end up moving back to the bullpen if he doesn't succeed. So definitely in the market for hopefully Burns, hopefully Sasaki. Sasaki's on everyone's radar, but yeah, it's the off season is just beginning, and winter meetings are happening now, so there's going to be news pouring in all the time. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's the best time of year. But
wow. I got one question, Ben. Just is there any? 100% agree with you. Not my money. Is there any bit of just worrisome? I think it was on one of our shows early on when we were like looking at Juan Soto's baseball reference. He was going through a rough patch. Obviously, he ended up turning it on with the Padres. I mean, he's really young.
Yeah.
Is there any, I feel like there has to be a little bit of anxiety with a 15-year deal.
Yeah. Well, so there is a 5-year opt-out. And so there is the option. If the opt-out's not triggered, the annual value goes up to 55 million a year versus I think it's 50 or 51. Most likely it's going to get triggered because he's not going to want to try to get more than 55 million a year, I think. But there is that opt-out potential. I'm not too worried. I mean, if you look all the way back besides 2020, he's played in 150 games or more pretty much every single year besides his rookie year. So he's been durable. He's always been a little bit of a slow starter, and that year just happened to be a little weird. And I don't know. I mean, he was traded too. So I mean,
we were like talking about like, oh, is he done? I feel like we had like a really deep
we did.
breakdown.
He had a really rough couple months, and that kind of Lindor, I think last year started the year. He had a really rough couple months too. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the trade who in that Padres lineup, he also didn't have that, those people around him to, he was kind of it. He was the guy that everyone was on his shoulders. And it seems like maybe he likes being, a number 2 or a 1A, 1B type of guy. I don't know how true it is, but I heard through this whole process, like Lindor was reaching out and like talking to Soto and like some of the captains for other teams. I heard Judge didn't even they haven't talked since the playoffs.
So classic Judge.
So I don't know if you would think the Yankees would use Judge in the recruitment process. Unless they really just wanted to handle it themselves, but
that's true.
That's feels odd to me that he wasn't part of the team captain. He is a captain now. Like he's not part of this process to recruit, the biggest free agent ever. Because guys don't come in their prime like that. So however you guys were feeling when you signed Bryce Harper is pretty much kind of how I'm feeling right now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I thought we were spending a ton of money then. It was like $330 something million. I thought that was a lot then. Now that doesn't even look like it fills up the cup of water compared to Soto's deal.
And you're going to see more and more. So like you saw like last year, Jackson Churio got that deal before he even played a game in the majors at 20 and signed an 8-year.
Yeah.
Like you're going to see small market teams like the Brewers. Now you're going to see that even more because these guys get to free agency. There's no chance for these smaller market teams to afford them. So
they just have to take the chance earlier.
And sometimes it works out. Like Churio looks like it's going to work out. We all thought about Acuna's deal and how like terrible for Acuna it was, but he's been injured 2 of the last 3 years, pretty much the whole year. So, the one deal that right now looks like kind of a steal, even though it was a big deal, is Bobby Witt. I mean, he's there for 13 or 14 years, and he put up a incredible year last year. So, yeah,
it's just. Go ahead, Chase.
I was just gonna say too. I do respect the fact that Mets didn't defer any of these payments, and they're just going to keep it within 15 years because
there's no deferral.
The Dodgers are literally cheating by just paying everyone until year 3000, and no one's even going to be around, so it doesn't even matter.
The Mets have been burned, I feel like, by that a couple times, right?
The Bobby Bonilla thing, if you're referring,
I know that's. I'm not even just saying that. I'm just saying the Dodgers specifically.
Like, there's other ones. Like the Orioles are paying Chris Davis through like 2035.
All the Nationals deals that got signed, Max Scherzer. I'm pretty sure he's still getting Nationals money.
Strasburg's going to get Nationals money.
Yeah, Strasburg, Rendon.
But the Bonilla thing, like at the time, actually worked out for the Mets, but it's just become this. Yeah,
that's nice. This is what owners, they don't seem like. I feel like bad owners and average owners, you don't really notice. Good owners, you notice, and like I feel like it's showing big time for the Mets. The fact that you're willing to pay that, and within 15 years.
Well, and this is such a change, like from the Wilpons. I mean, there was times with the Wilpons that they, like I think with Cespedes, we had Cespedes, and I forget who else was on the market, but they made some comments about how they're not, that'd be crazy to have 2 guys who are making over 30 million on the team like at the same time. Now it's like
I'm sure
now.
Yeah. But it's I'm excited, and they're not done, which is the wild part. They still have so much money to play with because of how they still had Scherzer and Verlander on the books last year, both for 40 million or something. So
it's crazy. I mean, I gotta give props to Juan Soto too. It's easy to get pissed at the guy. I feel like there's definitely a lot of timing and just unluckiness to free agency, especially now in the MLB. You basically get like one big deal. Plenty of people get screwed by it. You've seen it now in the NFL with the Sean Watson deals. Like a bunch of guys gotten paid after. Some guys right before him, might have gotten not screwed per se, but so shout out Juan Soto. But it just shows the timing, injuries, age. That's the biggest factor with the Juan Soto one, I think. And you pointed out on After Hours. So just, he got the bag, so you can't really complain about it. He's literally just sitting back watching teams fight over $700 million guys.
Well, and he got to choose where he wanted to go. I don't know enough about Soto, but he hasn't ever got to do that. He came up with the Nationals, then he got traded to the Padres, and he got traded again to the Yankees. Now he got to choose where he wanted to go.
He must like New York. He must. He's going to get destroyed during those Subway Series, by the way. When he goes back to the stadium.
I've been eyeing. I actually talked to Julie. I've been eyeing the first in April, late April. They're playing the Nationals in Washington. I've been eyeing to try to go to that game.
Oh, okay.
Maybe go to the first game back first game with the Mets back.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but they're not the only. That's not the only deal. I know it's the biggest one, but there's been a lot of other deals. Phillies made a small one. Jordan Romano. Not a bad arm. Could have a bounce back type guy if he pitches well. Could be a valuable piece.
And especially just eating innings in the back end. I feel like he's a somewhat trusted guy.
Yeah. Some of the other news. Speaking of Nationals, they won the draft lottery. I don't know if you guys saw that tonight.
Oh no.
So they're now they get the first overall pick. I think they have the 4th or 5th highest chance. So the 2 top ones were the Rockies and Marlins that had the best chances.
Okay.
The Rockies got 4th and the Marlins got 7th.
Oh.
So the top 2 picks are the Nats and Angels. Got the top.
Oh,
2.
why are the
So
Angels?
So last time the Nats had a top pick, was that Strasburg?
No,
Harper.
They've had some
They had
good
Harper and Strasburg. But
yeah, they've hit on their last 2.
didn't they have like a recent one or no?
We'd have to get that guy on that.
I'm trying to think. Rendon was in the first or second round.
But my point being is the
Yeah.
Nats have had success.
Yeah.
And Chase, to your point, they're already young and scrappy. If they can snag someone winning that lottery, I know no one really cares about the baseball draft. I'm pretty much on that boat, but
Multi-baseball draft.
Yeah, but they were able to, like, when they traded off a lot of pieces, the guys they got back have been able to get to the majors pretty quickly, I would say, and just the fact that they've been there, their ceilings are so high. I mean, I don't know how old Mackenzie Gore is. I think he's like 26, might be the oldest out of that whole group. But James Woods, I'm pretty sure, is not even 23 yet. So he's going to be a factor. They have a loaded outfield. They have a ton of people to be playing through.
Yeah, and Abrams, I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
whatever happened at the end of the year is going to be an issue. But, I mean, they got some talent. The Padres got a lot of talent for trading him, too. They got, I mean, Michael King, I think, was one of them. And
yeah. They've, like, people that they used all year.
Yeah. So there was those deals. I mean, Willie Adames, the Giants, was a big one. And then the Orioles made a couple moves, Tyler O'Neill and Gary Sanchez, adding to them. And then right before the podcast, Max Fried to the Yankees, using their money that they didn't trade Soto for. So
yeah,
sitting in a pile somewhere. Well, might as well send it on someone.
Yeah.
crazy.
Then the last thing that happened I saw interesting is the Blue Jays traded for Andres Jimenez, which he most notably traded Mets one of the big pieces for the Lindor trade. The Mets traded him away, and then he was been a Gold Glover for them the last 2 years. So
what did the Guardians get back?
So they got outfield prospect Nick Mitchell, who I'm not familiar with Nick Mitchell.
Yeah,
but we'll have to get Stack Eye on
Nick Mitchell.
Yeah,
that was it. That was just the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just that.
All right. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, it's a weird contract, or it's a weird deal. Like, he's not a high prospect,
and they just did a swap. All right.
Well, I mean, he's been a good second baseman, but he didn't hit last year, and Guardians had the number 1 overall pick last year and drafted.
Yeah, yeah.
Must really think he's going to move fast, and I don't know. That's a ballsy move though, for like a one. They've like traded 3 guys for that one prospect, I think. So I don't know. Weird deal.
All right.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Rangers just re-signed Nathan Eovaldi just now, so that
Bonds.
And
who had him in our competition? For anyone watching right now, we did a little.
Yeah, I feel like someone had Nathan Eovaldi back to the Rangers. Let's see.
Nathan Eovaldi.
Oh, no one had him in the Rangers. Yeah, Cubs, Braves, Phillies.
So
another L for us.
Yeah, for anyone who remembers last year, we only did like the top 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
Ben and Chase somehow tied, so I lost the bet. I had to. They're splitting a mix of 6.
Yeah, I like that Jock Peterson Marlins pick you made. That's sleepy.
Well, I'm already down by 2. So far we're going. Ben, Chase are at 3 picks total.
3-1.
I'm at 1, which was the freebie. We all got the freebie with the Kikuchi and the Angels because that happened as we were filling it out. So I'm down 3-1 early. You two, the fact that you've gotten 3 so far. By the way, Ben's list is like 20 to 30 guys. So
27, something like that.
Yeah. I will say when I got to like 18, I just started like typing in names. So.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm excited, and
Yeah.
It's a lot of things happening, and we'll see how that shapes out for the future. But
yeah,
move on.
Any other takes before we move on?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I hope the Mets get Sasaki. That's all I got.
Yep. And they won't. So what's next?
You see that same night the Mets signed Soto, the Dodgers signed Conforto and Blake Trinan, and no one cared at all because, like, Jesus, the Dodgers just keep making moves. We're gonna go to college football next. We're gonna check out, break down this bracket. I think we'll just look at it on our own, or do we want to?
Yeah, we can quickly break it down.
Yeah.
I feel like any main college football fans already know.
Yeah,
whip it out.
Let's see. I don't want a prediction. I want just the blank bracket. Come on, guys. Classic Stack Guy over here having some
Stack Guy's
issues.
always
having some issues. That's for sure. But we got.
Let's just run down real quick. So we got the 4 buys. You want to go ahead, Ben?
Yeah, we got number 1 Oregon, 2 Georgia, 3 Boise State, and 4 Arizona State. Who would have thought that one?
I give them credit for giving the conference winners some, even not the Big Ten, the SEC, some love. So, and then after that, the 5 through 12, we got going down the list. The 8-9 will be Ohio State, Texas. That's a nasty first round matchup for both. Oh, Tennessee. I'm sorry, Ohio State, Tennessee, nasty first round matchup. Texas, Clemson, the 5-12, Penn State, SMU, 6-11, and Notre Dame, Indiana, 7-10. So it's not your grandpa's March Madness bracket first round, that's for sure. I mean, it's just 12 loaded teams, and it's not which 15 seed. There's no St. Petersburg or St. Peter's in this tournament. So
no, not at all. But I'm super excited. It's just from going from the 4 to the 12, I knew it was going to be a jump in the excitement level, but this is like exceeded my expectations by just leaps and bounds. And just the matchups, the way they all shook up. I know some teams are mad that they didn't make it in, and it is surprising that Miami and Alabama were out, but at the same time, they have a lot of losses and a lot of questionable games that they won, and just the fashion that they did too. But
are you, Chase? Are you surprised Alabama was out?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I know a lot of people were. I just didn't know what your.
I was surprised only because I feel like they were always favorable to Alabama. I don't think they've gone in.
That's what I think too. But if they only had 2 losses, they certainly get in somehow. But even just like Miami's the best example, because it was like the games they won, they had to really grind it. It was not just like blowout fashion. They weren't just going in there doing a business. And then the games that they lost, it was like they shouldn't have been losing those games if they're that good. And, they spent money. They went out and got transfers, and it came up a little bit short. But, I don't know. I feel like it's good. I feel like it rewarded the teams that really stood out, especially Arizona State. They got really hot, beat the teams that they needed to, and then just really dismantled people from, even in the championship game. So, it was big, but all these first round matchups are great. I think it just exposes a lot of weaknesses and a lot of the conferences being able to mix now, and we really get to see how it is, because it's tough watching SEC matchups all the time. These guys are going to be pros. They're really just eating their own. So once they get out and play these other conference teams, it's like you get to see the level at which they're all playing at.
Yeah, and I mean this. It's really fun for any fans that there's going to be a lot more parity, I think, going forward with college football. I mean, it's going to be a lot harder for a team like Alabama to just win 3-4 years in a row and be that dominant, because they have to get through all these games and all these levels. And you're going to get a team, and even in a tournament like this, it just gets hot, and that just gels.
I think it'll help exposure too. I mean, you have your programs, your culture is built like any sport, but in March Madness, you watch like some random 11 seed make a run to the Elite 8, and all of a sudden, like that's some clout for them. Maybe they get an extra recruit or two they didn't thought they would in the next couple of years. I mean, SMU could get blown out right away, right? I mean, Arizona State, Boise stay in the second round, you don't know, but just them being there and being remotely competitive potentially against any of these teams, a loss might not even be that bad for a program now that you got these extra games or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it may be.
I mean, there's also teams like Oregon, like as a 1 to potentially face Ohio State as an 8 seed kind of buns. Like feels like Ohio State could easily beat Oregon.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about this. And Penn State honestly feels like they have a little bit of a favorable draw. Like they don't have to potentially face Georgia or Oregon next round, which is nice. Not that Boise State's a walk in the park.
No.
They could win these 2 games and set themselves up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm happy too that it's going to create the chance to make new rivalries too, because I know scheduling is a little bit more open now, and we can just find these teams going back, and I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to be consistent playoff bound teams, but there's going to be new ones in, and hopefully it can spark those people. And I don't know, like you said, Ryan, in the tournament, these guys play all season, and then some of them just really rise to the occasion and make their name during the tournament. So I'm hoping that the same thing happens now. Like we got to see a little bit with the 14 playoff, but it's not really a whole lot of time. Now we get a few rounds with it, more teams. So there's definitely going to be people that you didn't get to hear about a whole lot this year that you're definitely going to know by the end of this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy, right? I mean, we're talking like there's players in like college basketball. You like remember like the Buddy Hield run, right? Like there's just some certain players you remember them in this time. This is potentially, if you make a run to the finals, that's 4 extra games. Man, we're talking NFL season now, length of games for these players. I mean, they're going to be playing potentially 17 games if you make a run in the finals. So 1, we'll see the longevity, how tired some of these college guys get. But 2, you can watch, like, if Ginty decides to pop off, 2-3 straight games, like, everyone knows the name, but to watch him, prime time that many times, Boise State doesn't get many prime time games. That it'd just be something cool to watch and follow the hype of.
Chase, I'm assuming this doesn't affect like Heisman stuff, right? Like Genty.
Yeah, I guess not. I think that is the Heisman this weekend.
Okay, I didn't know. Like, so it's like obviously like someone like Travis Hunter they're not in it, but like Genty going off doesn't. I'm assuming like NFL or anything.
Yeah,
it's just
but it just stands to prove on his case. Like he can still. Yeah. People are going to be mad he didn't win it, or they're just going to be like, yeah, it's the reason why I won it. Or he'll just shit the bed and fumble it 6 times and then be like, why this guy won the Heisman again?
Does anyone have an initial prediction? I know we haven't done our brackets yet.
On who's going to win it all?
Or like potential.
I mean, Oregon's a tough team. They just, I don't know. It feels like they mentally will themselves into a good. They were the only really team this year that could hang at number 1 for a consistent basis.
I saw Carson Beck's out for a little while.
Yeah.
We'll see. Georgia's a little sketchy. I think whoever they get between Notre Dame and Indiana is going to be tough. So
I agree.
I haven't even seen who is the favorite. Like what's the odds wise?
Yeah, top of my head, I feel like Texas has the best shot to make a run, just because Oregon already did beat Ohio State. Chase, if they have to play them again, it is tough to win both times. So,
yeah, Clemson, Texas. You have Texas as a -11 favorite against Clemson.
I could see Texas choking that game out for some reason, and I don't know why.
Ohio
they shouldn't. They should destroy Clemson like 50-0, but they could go in there and just get sideways.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ohio State, Tennessee, they're -7.5 favorites over Tennessee.
Okay, I can see that.
SMU. Let me see here. Penn State's -9 over SMU.
Yeah, I don't really like that. I don't know.
They got some hefty.
I don't know. I get the Tennessee one because they could have trouble scoring.
Yeah.
Their defense is great, but they could not move the ball.
And then Notre Dame's -7.5 against Indiana.
Oh.
We're going to find out.
Yeah,
we're going to find out which team is real and which one isn't.
Big numbers here. We'll see.
Plus, that's an in-state matchup. That's a pretty cool game. I don't really remember.
Yeah, that's true.
Notre Dame, having to play like I don't know. We'll see. Indiana's a scrappy team. It seems like they're healthy. They kind of fell apart with the Ohio State game, but they handled themselves good. Otherwise, they could have totally just fell off the tracks with the Ohio State loss, but they didn't.
Yeah. No.
Also, kind of crazy. We're just looking at the schedule. I mean, January 20th is the championship game. That's just that's late.
We're adding something else to Inauguration Day and Martin Luther King Day.
Oh my gosh.
Also, at least it's at 7:30. At least that's a little better.
That's so much better than like 8.
At least 7. Yeah. At least,
you just know it's gonna be like a 4-hour game.
Yeah, at least 7:30. Hopefully, it's done by like 11ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's gonna be good though. I'm excited. I feel like they're gonna have to expand it even more because this is gonna be such a success, and they're not gonna want to keep teams from scheduling good opponents. Like Alabama threatened to reevaluate their schedule making process. They already have kind of questionable schedule making processes anyway, so I really wouldn't be concerned about their threats. But it should be rewarded the teams that still play really well, and I don't know. The SEC gets the benefit of the doubt. They have really loaded matchups anyways, but all these other conferences, they should be playing each other just to suss it out. And I don't know. Yeah. But the committee has to keep rewarding it too. Like, I feel like they pretty much did a decent job this year, and they really could have fumbled it and just caved and gave it to a bunch of teams that probably didn't deserve to be in there. And I feel like everyone in there had a case to make and deserved it for one reason or another.
So I just feel like certain conferences like the Pac-12, the Big 12, some of these ones wouldn't have like just completely gone underwater if they would have done this 12 teams sooner.
Yeah, the Mountain West.
Yeah.
Where's UConn?
UConn, I think, is independent right now.
Independent.
Yeah.
No one wants UConn though.
I'm pretty sure UConn, UMass, and Notre Dame are the top 3 independents right now.
Oh, they're like free agent teams.
I know, yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe they'll consider, now that they all know that they can only get the highest seed is the 5th. As the 5th seed is the highest they can get.
Yeah, it's crazy knowing that you have like no shot at a bye. Essentially, I mean, if everyone else is a lot worse, but you're not going to have that. So.
And this bye might mess up teams too. Like.
Because you have till January 1st is those games. That's a long. That's a month.
Yeah, and they haven't played some of them. I guess the championship games were last weekend, so
yeah, but that's a.
I mean, all the championship winning coaches, I give the benefit of the doubt, like Dabo, Kirby. I feel like they know how to motivate their teams a little bit differently, but still having that bye week, if you're not ready for that, I feel like people can. It's almost too much time to think about stuff.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So, that's exciting. We got a lot to look forward to. There's games happening in about a week and a half. So
I do just want to touch on the transfer portal real quick because it opened and there's been a record amount of transfers. If you could imagine that, no penalty and you can get paid to play. A lot of people are going to seek other opportunities, but the only reason I really want to bring this up is because there's been a lot of coaching changes and we all heard about all the rumors and stuff like that. But one of the random teams I picked at the beginning of the year was Tulane. They had a pretty decent year. They made it all the way up to the American Athletic Conference Championship game against Army. Really left a turd out there on the field. I mean, it was a bad performance. It was not good. They went up there, had to play in the cold against a bunch of disciplined people. It was not a good result. So a lot left to be desired, but it was a good year overall. I was really excited. Their coach committed to them. He's going to stay, and he was rumored to be on the to be a good candidate for a lot of openings, but he stayed. And out of nowhere, what I felt like was their true freshman quarterback who started this year, Darian Mensah, hit the portal, and I was like a little hurt. I was a little bummed out. I mean, I feel happy for him. He's going to go seek other opportunities, try to get a little more money. He should. He had a great year. He wasn't even expected to win the job. Went into camp, straight balled out, really made the most of the team, put a lot of people on the map, obviously bringing back a lot of NFL prospects to the team. So, but he hit the portal. Don't know where he's going to end up going. Malik Murphy from Duke, who went from Texas last year to Duke this year for 1 year, is hitting the portal. So Mensa is looking to go there, possibly set up a visit, but team's going to be a little bit different next year. Kind of have to expect that with college football, but I was a little bummed out. I thought they had a nice little core group guys there. And I hope they were going to be able to get some money together to keep them, moving. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where he goes, though. I feel like he's a really good prospect, and if he can keep developing and building off these years, he's legit going to be a first-round pick as a quarterback. So we'll see. But it was just,
So if you enter the portal, Chase, no chance he can come back to Tulane.
he could. I think there's guys that enter that if it doesn't go the way you want it to or the way you're hoping to, which I think a lot of people are going to find out there's probably not as many good opportunities as they thought. Yeah. And maybe it's a little bit better than you thought.
It's hard. It's hard to learn new systems, new teams, new areas. Like,
I mean, it's one thing for a lot of people to transfer, but this is like, I think they had over 1,000 people enter, and that was yesterday. So I'm sure I know more people entered today. So it's just so much movement. It's like, and all the coaches move too. So I feel like if the coaches get to move scot-free with nothing and still get paid in a lot of positions, then the players should be able to move too. But I don't know. I feel like some people are going to get boned out. Some people aren't going to get what they're promised. And hopefully people aren't going to get taken advantage of. But it's hard to say because there's really no accountability right now. We saw some people already drop out at the beginning of the year because they didn't say that they didn't feel like their NIL deals were being fulfilled. So it's a little bit of the Wild West, but, some of these teams are going to pop up. Like Indiana wasn't really on the radar. They come in, get a new coach, get a bunch of transfers. They're on the map. They're making the playoffs. So I think a lot of people who have money invested in these schools are going to want the same results. You can get a lot of instant talent. And these guys are so young. Like Darian Mensa was a true freshman, so he's still got a lot of time, a lot of eligibility on his hands. Like Dylan Gabriel has been in college forever. It feels like had a lot of starts. Bo Nix had a lot of starts. Darian Mensa could also be at the position to have 50, 60 starts in college too, just depending on how many opportunities he can get. So
different world.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's good. I hope a lot of quarterbacks stay now and get 40, 50, 60 games in college because Bo Nix should be the real example. Like he stayed around. I didn't really think it was going to be a great pro prospect at all. Even the beginning of the first half of the season, I was like, I don't know. I feel like he's noodle arm Nix. I don't know. I watched him at Auburn. I had to root against him because of Penn State. He goes to Oregon, has a Heisman caliber season, yada, yada, yada. It's like he didn't have the deepest throw yard percentage and all that stuff. But whatever. He's turned that around. He is and at least competing for Rookie of the Year, which is not for nothing, but he did have all that experience. And all these rookies that didn't have experience, Anthony Richardson, I think is still under 20 games total starting. Yeah. And that's between like college and pro. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So I feel like they're in different positions. You're a little bit more mature. You've seen a lot more. You can handle way more. And I feel like you can just have a lot more instant success and then have more value for yourself and get bigger contracts down the road. But we'll see. This transfer portal thing is going to be a little crazy, but I'm hoping it all shakes out. Hopefully Tulane can figure it out too, because I think I'll still stick around with them next season. They're an exciting young team, so yeah.
And it's crazy. I mean, for kind of casual college football fans like me, and I feel like me and Ryan are more casual than you. You definitely know a lot more than we do. It's going to be a lot harder for us to keep track of everyone and what teams are good, because these guys, I'm used to like.
And before
Deshaun Watson's at Clemson, he's at Clemson for the next 3 years.
And you only get 3 years before. You only get 3 years, which is already short. Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit harder to keep track of. But
it's kind of like college basketball, though, too, with a lot of the players with the 1 year.
Yeah. And there's a lot of transfers now going on in college basketball too. But
yeah, it's for sure hard. I mean, there's guys I saw pop up that I forgot where they were when they initially committed out of high school.
Yeah.
And they're already 2-3 transfers in. And I was like, that's crazy. I mean, at the same time, if I was in that position, I would hope I'd be getting the same opportunities to make more money and stuff like that. But that's still like, I mean, what's the point now? I don't like college is changing and it's almost like semi-pro in a way. Like, I mean, it might as well just be professional. You're being paid for what you're doing.
Yeah.
All these colleges are pretty much going to turn into, and some of these might not even continue with football. Like some of these schools just might be like, this is way too. You're going to have a GM. Andrew Luck's a GM at Stanford now. Like, yeah, it's basically a mini football operation. So, which is, and at the same time, it's great because everyone wants to be a GM. There's only 32 of those positions. Now there's going to be, I don't even know how many. Like, you have 400 because you have it across D1, D2, D3 even.
Is this go to baseball too, Chase?
I don't know. I have no idea what the other sports are like. I'm pretty sure this is all just anything D1.
I feel like baseball, I don't hear really
as much. Yeah, I know. It feels like baseball is more still commitment to, even basketball is a little bit more. I feel like some guys.
Yeah.
I feel like some guys will stay and then transfer as like a graduate.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, college football just seems like you can play 4 games, decide to hang it up, and then just keep transferring. And there used to be the guys who would like hang around because of medical, and just somehow you'd end up like, well, the 28-year-old Will Greer is your quarterback at West Virginia, who already has a family and kids on campus. And you're like, what is happening? How are you already this far ahead in life?
There's a one guy who's trying to go in year 7, I think.
Yeah, and Oregon had a tight end who I'm pretty sure was like in his 15th year of college eligibility or something like that. I think it just ended last year, but it was like the most insane amount of, he kept like blowing out his knees. I'm pretty sure just getting, I think he got like whole leg replacements and then blew out those knees.
He was having a good life in college and did not want it to end.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
He was having a college life.
Like, I can't keep track of this, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's been those stories, but now it's, you could just do it. Like,
let's be real, if Dank was good at football, he would do that.
Yeah.
Well, and it got really long because COVID, you got extra eligibility.
Yeah, COVID really.
So there was like 8th year seniors, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh.
Like 7, 8 year seniors, yeah.
All right. Well, between baseball and the football, we'll quickly touch on a little basketball to wrap up our show. We had a lot to talk about with those two. A lot of big news, but you guys you want to give a quick just Sixers update?
Well, yeah. Well, real quick before we move into the Sixers, we just give everyone a shout out for watching, listening tonight. Instagram. I think there's a few folks on there. Kendra, Jill, Raj. We appreciate all y'all hopping on tonight. YouTube, whether you're through For the Fun of the Hobby, AFR Show Pod. We got Barry, AG. What's good, my G? We appreciate all you guys commenting and listening to us tonight. Feel free to drop any more comments, and we usually go about 45, 50 minutes. Hang around for another 5-10 minutes here. Talk some NBA quick before we hang it up for this Tuesday evening out in the East Coast of the States. But yeah, let's dive into it. I really want to touch base. We've been really hawking on the Sixers hard. Chase and I, big 76ers fans here. And obviously season didn't start how we wanted it to. But short December, only 12 games. And Chase 3-1 to start. I figured they'd probably split the Magic.
You said it.
They beat the Hornets, and then they beat the Bulls on Sunday with the big 3 back together, their second game of the season. None of them got hurt during the game. Huge success. And
calls the Suns.
The Sixers now, I know they're still 7-15, right? But they won 4 out of 5, and they really have a stretch here. Next 4 games, Pacers, Hornets twice, and then the Cavs is a tough one. But, next 4 games, they could win another 3 out of 4 potentially. Biggest factor for me is this is why you suck at the NBA Cup, because their schedule, they played on Sunday. They don't play till next Friday. Then they don't play till Monday, and then they don't play till next Friday again. That's 4 games in, 2 weeks is unheard of in, modern day NBA. But the fact that they're not in the NBA Cup's knockout round is golden, because, Embiid basically came out and said he wants to play every game. He wants to play every minute. he's not injured. It's just his knees just keep swelling and his body's not cooperating with him. This is the prime time that hopefully he can play in the next 3 games because of the breaks in between. They can rattle off 3 more wins, 10 and 15 going into the harder stretch of December. And I mean, for what we've said by Christmas time could be dead in the water, I'm not getting too ahead of myself here. They still got to win the games and, be out on the court and execute, but a lot better position now than we were a couple weeks ago talking about them.
Yeah, I agree. And like we said, we laid out the plan of what they had to do. They're doing it, and we're starting to get healthy along the way. So I feel like it's going according to plan. We just got to ride it out. Hopefully just get these minutes in. I feel like that's the most important thing is just get everyone back there, get some plays under us, let Nick Nurse coach a healthy team, and then just start to see what we actually have because a lot of guys are eligible to be traded now. So I hope the Sixers can see what we can have and then start to scour and see what we can do to add a little bit of versatility to this team because, just knock on wood, I'm just looking for insurance policies. I feel like that's all we really need to do and then just get the chemistry up. I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, chemistry up. I mean, they have big guy depth. I mean, Gershon Yabusele, Andre Drummond, even Adem Bona had in his short time playing, rookie at a UCLA, I believe, has had some good minutes. So you have some good depth there, but potential trade pieces as well. I think KJ Martin, who's been on the team 2-3 years now, hasn't done much, been a bottom of the rotation guy, gotten more minutes when players got injured. He's having a great start to the season. He's someone I could see them using as a trade piece per their needs. Kyle Lowry hasn't had to do as much. He's been injured a little bit because of the rise of Jared McCain. Another piece you could potentially move depending on what their needs are come trade deadline. Biggest thing is keep the big 3 on the court as much as possible and, build the chemistry and the pieces they can fall around. I mean, I'm coming into this season knowing, you don't sign Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, KJ Martin, Kyle Lowry. Like half these guys are going to be going to the trade deadline. I just know how it is, right? The biggest thing is you get the cohesiveness and, chemistry going with the main core guys. And I hope they keep Andre Drummond around too, a big Andre Drummond guy. I was mad when he first left, glad he came back. And I'm a lot better position than we were. So not getting on the train, but especially after the Cowboys basically blew their season last night against the Cincinnati Bengals for me, I am having a lot more higher hopes for the 76ers right now.
Yeah, and just not to interrupt, but a quick comment that might be more for Chase. I don't know if Chase can see it. We can
pop it up on the
see if Chase can see that.
Yeah. Having the reporter pop in, we appreciate the comment.
All right. Yeah. Sure. I mean, I have no idea. It makes sense. He was there before. I know a lot of people have been stomping their feet to bring him back. So that would be pretty cool.
All right. Well,
Jacksonville fade into a wagon.
Is Evan a big West Virginia guy or?
I don't know.
We don't have any West Virginia sports. None of us have any. I mean, there's not many sports in general in West Virginia, but we don't
just
have
college.
Just the college basically. Yeah. And
but yeah, back to basketball. Just wanted to shine light on the comment. I just one quick thing about the Knicks. They're fine, kind of where I would expect them. They're 14-8, playing well. I just got really frustrated because last Saturday, it was the 5th. I'm sorry, it's the Thursday. Thursday the 5th, they played the Hornets. They won 125-101. And this is just me bitching about Tom Thibodeau. The minutes on this game, they won by 24. Mikal Bridges, 47. Anunoby, 40. Towns, 39. Josh Hart, 38. Brunson, 27. So he was fine. No one else besides McBride and Achua got more than 10. They were up going into the fourth quarter, 103-78, going into the fourth quarter. And they did not take out. Karl Anthony Towns was still making free throws with a minute and a half left, up by 26. He was in that game.
What is that 7-man rotation they're going with right now?
Yeah. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart didn't come out of the game finally until a minute and a half in the fourth quarter.
This is why they lost last year in the playoffs.
They're playing a Hornets team that's not good. They were winning going in to the fourth quarter by 25. Just that irks me. Just this is the chance to give some of those guys a rest. I don't even know. Is this part of the freaking cup, and is this why this is happening? Because
it doesn't matter either way.
Well, no, with the
no,
points.
No, they're in the knockout stage.
Oh, I don't know. It's like, dude, just rest them. Just rest them.
That's crazy. That's a playoff.
That irked me.
What are they going to go with a 4-man rotation in the playoffs? 7 guys? Is there someone out right now?
I don't know. I mean, Mitchell Robinson, he's always out.
Yeah, but
no one else.
7-man rotation.
They had like McBride and Achua, but look at like no one else. Like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes.
Oh,
like,
then this is.
I agree.
Otherwise, that would be Toppin's brother they have on their roster.
Yeah.
Jacob Toppin.
You know they're gonna try to bring back Obi. You might as well.
We're gonna have a segment on the brothers that played the same sport.
But yeah, you guys have anything else about the Sixers before we wrap this
No,
up?
I just have one point about the Knicks. I really don't think you care. Just like you don't care that the Jets are in the toilet because the Mets got Juan Soto for the next 15 years. So your kid's gonna be like graduating high school, and Juan Soto is still gonna be on the New York Mets, and your kid's too.
No, she'll be 17. That's wild.
So. Dang.
It's a long time. Hopefully he produces.
That's insane. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. And speaking of baseball, we didn't even, to wrap up the show, there was 2 new Hall of Famers that got announced the other night, both from Pennsylvania. So Dave Parker for the Pirates and Dick Allen for the Phillies. So 2 new Hall of Famers. Congrats to those guys. And yeah, that's all we got.
Yeah. Penis tool.
All right. On that note, we'll see you guys later.
Deuces.